ladies and gentlemen. All right, this wreath kit comes with the 2 rolls of poly jute mesh, one in the natural and white and one in the red and natural. It comes with, of course, the wreath frame we're going to be using, our cute little rooster, the ruscus bush, and 4 rolls of ribbon. And I will tell you, when I picked out this wreath kit, when I went to market and I was shopping for this one, I really liked this orange, kind of like a burnt orange with yellow talisman, but look how it really coordinates with the beak and the feet. So it kind of pulls that color out. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun one to work with. My wreath frame done, 15-inch elevated work frame. I'm actually just going to hang that up on the wall behind me right now while we work on the mesh. So I'm cutting both rolls of mesh at the same time. I'm cutting these at 30 inches. Okay, yeah, not us. So I'm going to use the woodland ruffle, the scruffle, the cruffle, whatever you want to call it, where you curl in the ends and then you kind of ruffle it down the center. So I can do it very well without having to lay it out on the table, and that just comes from practice, but I will show you on the table itself. So I'm going to bring down our wreath frame, and I'm just going to put the red and natural in every other one. Okay, so I'm just curling in the edge about the size of a quarter, both ends, and then I'm just going to walk right up the center of it, and I'm going to pinch that off, putting the curled edges face up or face down. So let me show you. Also, if you have a little clip clothespin and you're new to doing this method, it's really helpful and less frustrating if you kind of clip it on the end after you get it curled. If you clip it, I'm going to give it a little bit more curl than that. We need more. I'm going to ruffle this together, curl both ends, ruffle it right down the center. But see how the curls are facing up versus facing down? That's what Gail is asking. So these are going curl side up. Thank you, Heather. Familiar with mesh, or if you're new to mesh, you know the more you touch it, the more you handle it, the more it's going to fray, because every mesh will fray. Don't let anybody kid you. Every mesh will fray. But to minimize it, we want to handle it as little as possible. And when I put it on my table, it gets stuck together, and then I have issues with trying to get it apart, and that will cause it to. So right now I'm doing every other twist tie with the red and natural. And of course we're doing the bottom first. Whenever I do this method, I always start with the bottom ring of our wreath frame. Curl in the edge, clip it, flip it, and curl in the edge. Give it a couple of curls and then walk right up the center. So looking at this, I'm adding the top one, and again, I'm putting the curl side up. Look at how fun and frilly that is with those. Oh. And I did turn on my glue pot because we are going to be adding some greenery to this particular, guys, this is the base with alternating the red and natural mesh. So let's get started, and we are going to start adding some ribbon, but we're actually going to start with, you know what, before we do that, let's get our sign ready, because you know, I like to get the sign going so the glue can cure a little bit. On the metal embossed signs, they have a little wire hanger, so I try to use that wire hanger as a point of connection. Add some of my DAP Rapid Fuse glue and add a couple more. I'm going to add some cable tie mounts so that we can connect it at a couple of different spots. Let's play ribbon. By the way, this is how much was left on the rolls of mesh when we got done. I'm going to take my bag that I used that the rooster came in, and I'm going to put those in that bag and put them on my shelf to store for later. All right, if you're just joining, here are the ribbon choices that come in this wreath kit. So it has 3 2.5-inch ribbons and 1 1.5-inch. And look at how fun these are. I'm gonna add about a 15-inch ribbon tail. Maybe not quite 15. I'm gonna go 15. I can make it shorter, right? And so I'm gonna make our bow. And for this one, I'm going to use 2 loops on each side with our 2.5-inch rooster ribbon. And scissors are good. Scissors are great. Let's bring in some of this rust colored chicken wire ribbon. Awesome. All right, so now I'm going to put the rickrack. So even though I have the rust color down here, I'm going to put the rickrack right on top of it. And do 1 loop on each side. Give it a tail. Now I'm going to come in with that 2.5-inch Swiss dot. Do 1 loop on each side, just a little bit shorter. So each loop I'm going just a little bit shorter than the one before. And then for a final, I'm just going to take 1 piece of our rickrack, and I'm just going to make like a small loop. I only need a small loop, and I'm going to put that right there in the center. Make sure that my ribbon's facing the right way. Pretty side up. There we go, pretty side up. And I think we're ready. When I do ribbon or bows that have a lot of ribbon to them, or I think that I'm not going to be able to handle it, I will reach for the zip ties. And I know that there are a lot of people that use zip ties all the time, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's no right, wrong, or indifferent on just whatever feels good to you, whatever preference you have. Okay. Okay. I might have to put the readers on. There we go. I wanted to put two together because one may not be long enough. You know what? One might be long enough. Let me see. Oh, heck. We can use one. There's the other end. Okay. Now, of course, before I tighten down my zip tie, I always make sure that I leave enough room that I can put a floral wire or a pipe cleaner or whatever it is that I'm going to need to attach it to my wreath. So before I tighten that down all the way, let me grab a piece of floral wire and I'll come from behind and I'm going to slip a piece of floral wire right underneath that zip tie. With the bow, let me turn it around. There is our bow using all 4 of those ribbons. And I need to bring him a little more towards the center. So I will tighten him down so that he's a little more centered there. I'm going to take that sign and where I've added the pipe cleaners and put it down in there. Thank you, Sarah. So on the back side, I try to find one of those crossbars. If I can loop my pipe cleaner around one of those crossbars, it helps stabilize that sign, you know, during transportation. Ruscus is a plastic greenery. It has sliding, you can push the stems up or down, which comes in nice if you don't need a whole lot of stem on there. But when I go to add greenery, I always try to go underneath my bow and I'll add glue to the end of the stem and I'm looking for a twist tie, a pipe, or you know, a twist tie on the wreath itself. So I like to use that twist tie. And here is one very close to my bow. So I will be able to use that to help anchor some of the greenery, but I'm also going to go up underneath the bow with the glue. That way it's got 2 points of something to secure it with, right? So not only the glue, but the twist tie. Now I can usually get a few pieces in one twist tie, so I'm gonna untwist that, and this time I'm gonna go in at a different angle. What glue? Take, and I didn't look, that's 3 cuts, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 cuts on this ruscus bush. And I'm going to do the same thing like along the side. I'm going to go up underneath behind the bow, looking for a twist tie if I can utilize a twist tie underneath. I'm going to go through the mesh with my stem, my glue, wiggle it around, and then use the twist tie to also secure it. Pieces left. All right, so this is my crossroads. This is my deciding factor. So we have the bow, we have the rooster, we've got some greenery in there. Now, if I were to add ribbon tails, which I'm still on the fence about because I think it's going to take away from the rest of our design. However, we do still have 2 pieces of ruscus yet left. We could actually go, the greenery makes a difference. Kelly, it just kind of like sets it off. It softens it up, but yet gives it a whole new flavor, right? So I've got 2 pieces of the greenery left, and I'm not going to glue these down. I'm just going to kind of play with it for a second. And you most certainly can do this too. Another one, just using the twist tie. It may not stay there. That's the beauty of not putting it there permanently, right? And then I can do the same thing down below where I'm almost tempted to do this. This one I think is going to fit better. I just need to move that one. All right, look at this. So I added that piece around the bottom, and it's kind of bringing the bow and the rooster together with that piece of greenery. So this one I think is going to work. I just need to bring it a little bit closer to this greenery. All right, so this is our rooster wreath. Trying to get him to stand up, and I want to see how well you can see. Yeah, it's not too bad. You guys can see it pretty good. Well, I want to thank you for hanging out and chatting with me while we made this new wreath kit. And yeah, that's it. That's all. This will be a tutorial for the wreath kit after I'm done. So you guys have a great rest of your Friday Eve. And I will probably see you tomorrow. No promises, but I'll probably see you tomorrow. Have a great night.